Guys, today I want to explain you how to do top off operation during the loading. When you almost finish your loading operation, you need to slow down the rate to minimize it and top up to the certain level. Normally all vessel loading up to 98%, and this ship captain said that not more than 97.8. We agree with loading master during the key meeting that ship must give 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15, 5 and standby. It's like notice from ship side to before stop. And we agree around 2 hours before I will give notice when reduce the rate. As you can see, I make calculation. First of all, you calculate at your stability program final drafts, and after you go to your Excel form where you calculate the cargo, and you need to calculate your final level when you will close your cargo tank. I load at full maximum rate. It was 2600 metric tons per hour for 2 manifold, but this maximum load for 2 manifold and 4 tanks. That's why you need, when you will close one tank, you need to reduce a little bit rate. That's why I start topping off operation. First I finish number 1 after 4 to minimize the trim, and after I finish number 2 and number 3. It was my sequence 1, 4, 2, 3, because number 3 it's play minimum trim effect, yeah, like this. Also very important, do not take into account the trim, because if you will load, for example, 97.9 and after your trim will be increasing or decreasing, yeah, you can overload. And if you will show that you have 98.1 or 98.2% at your cargo calculation, it can be the problem, because it's a violation of international rules. Yes, of course, now I will show you the levels what we have. Look, it's number 1 cargo tank, we have already 21.4, and here was 21.7. Of course, we are now using 2-3 compressors, reliquefaction plants, and we cool down the cargo, because if you can check the temperature inside the cargo tanks, we have minus 42.2. you see, it's very cold propane, because we load the cargo minus 41, minus 41.5, and now we cool down to maximum temperature, to lowest temperature, and the volume of cargo like reducing, it's shrink, yeah. That's why the levels, it will be reduced. If you can see, number 1 now only 21.4, number 2 also 21.4, but number 3 and 4 it's increased, it's also reduced, you see. That's why, guys, what I tell you, always load up to 98%, not more. Better 97.8 or 97.9, it's maximum, because you never know about trim correction, and don't overload your tanks, because it can be the problem. And about topping off, yeah, when I have around 300 millimeters to final point, yeah, I have around 21.4 inside the tanks, this is final. I start close filling valves around 50%, and when I finish my number 1 tank, I call the terminal and reduce a little bit rate, and I make around 2000 metric tons to avoid any damage and overpressure my loading system, yeah, cargo system, because maximum rate it's assigned to use for all cargo tanks and 2 systems simultaneously. When you close 1 tank, it means this all cargo will go only 3 tanks, and it can be overload. That's why I reduce, for safe reason, a little bit. When I close 1 tank, I reduce rate. When I close this tank, I reduce a little bit up to 1.3 thousand, and slowly I reduce And finally, when I have around 400 millimeters to finish at number 3, I reduce to minimum. It was around half an hour, and after we top up, I say standby 1-2 minutes before. After I say stop, 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 and they within 1 minute they close and stop loading. That's why nothing difficult, nothing so important. Only for your information, always be on safe side. If you will reduce the rate even early, it will be also good. No problem if you a little bit delay the topping up and completion of cargo operation, but you will not overload your cargo tanks. Also keep in your mind that sometimes the cargo valves can stuck. That's why when you start topping up the cargo tank, gas engineer must be on tank dome locally. In case the loading valve stuck from CCR, gas engineer can operate locally and close the loading filling valves. Okay, this is very important because one time it's happened in my practice, and gas engineer locally close hydraulic valve, and we avoid really serious situation. That's why also for your convenience, I advise all chief officers prepare for your duty officers the table like this, where you mark all final level, how many quantity will be loaded, how many on board, when call you, and draft, and so on. Detailed information. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoy the explanation.